And then let me go to, come on, there we go. All right, going live. Woo-hoo! All right, good morning, everyone, and happy Wednesday. Guess who? It's your favorite elf, Julie Jones with the Adventures of Julie Jones and GSD. I don't have my normal background on the back because I want you to see me in full vibrant color. So I am super excited this morning to welcome my really good friend, Melissa Deely. Melissa, welcome to the show.
Thank you so much. I'm so happy to be here. I knew you would be dressed up, and so I decided to don my Mrs. Claus outfit.
Well, I am so glad that you did, because, you know, anytime that Julie Jones has an opportunity to dress up in costume, it doesn't have to be a holiday, seriously. But Melissa and I were just sharing this morning that I had the great opportunity to go Christmas caroling in an assisted living home this morning. So that was a lot of fun. I did that first, and now I get to interview her. And so, woohoo, it's a great day.
We've got the full-on Christmas spirit going here.
That's right. That is right. So, well, enough about all that. Let's get started with Melissa, because she's amazing. And I've had the distinct pleasure of being able to work with her as well. So Melissa, why don't you introduce yourself, kind of share a little bit about who you are, what makes you so special, and like what you provide when it comes to your guided health journey.
Sure, I would love to. Thank you very much. So I am an integrative health practitioner and registered health coach, but I wasn't always an integrative health practitioner and registered health coach. And some people might be wondering, what does that mean? Well, what it means is that I help people get to the root cause of their health issue. So often today, we go to the doctor with symptoms and we get given a label as to whatever illness we have, and we get given a drug to help us heal, except that it doesn't necessarily help us fully overcome whatever that label is. And very often we end up with a chronic illness and get told that's it. This is as much as we can do for you. Just take this drug to help with the pain, and you have to live with this. And the reality is that the human body's healing mechanisms are so innately powerful when we know how to work with them. But modern life has us not working with them simply because we don't know, right? And we haven't been taught this through our education system and our public health system. And for me, the big aha was when I got let go from the corporate world and literally was guided into this work and found myself at school to become a health coach, a profession I had never heard of until literally 3 days before I enrolled in these classes, and realized, oh my goodness, there's so much I don't know, right? And we don't know what we don't know until we need to know, or until we go back to school. And not everybody has time to go back to school. And so now I just want to pay it forward and pass on this information that I wish that I had had previously, because if I had known this all along, I would have done things differently. And again, don't beat yourself up over what you didn't know, but it's never too late to start implementing this information to allow your body to heal. So modern life, high stress, poor sleep, poor nutrition, no time to exercise, no time for self-care, all of these things are having our body burn through much needed vitamins and minerals and have us out of balance and depleted. And when we're in that state for too long, the body can't function properly. It causes inflammation in the body. The body starts to break down, and we start to have cells turn on disease. But it doesn't have to be that way. We can run lab testing to figure out where those imbalances are. We can discover your toxic load in order to figure out, what that's doing to the body and bring the body back into balance. And the beautiful thing is when we do that, the body is then in a position to heal itself. We don't need a label. We just simply need to know where those imbalances are. And with the label, yes, some people are like, well, if they just tell me what's wrong, then I know what to do about it. But sometimes that label is really unhelpful for people because that label comes with, as I said earlier, this is as good as it gets. We really can't help you, right? You're going to have this for life. Or it's a really scary label. And then we focus on it. And where we put our focus draws more, right? And then we're focusing on the negative, we're focusing on the fear, and the body starts manifesting more of that rather than focusing on the imbalances, understanding those imbalances and doing something about it. So that's how integrative health and being a health coach is different to mainstream medicine. Mainstream medicine's excellent at acute care. The problem is a lot of our illness today is chronic illness driven by lifestyle choices made by people that are unaware through no fault of their own, right? But our medical industry is not taught about this at health school. So there's this big at a medical school. So there's this big disconnect. And that's where holistic health, integrative health is filling that gap for people. So that's what I do.
I know, and it's so exciting because so I'm sitting here and I'm listening, right? I'm always like, okay, what am I going to extract from that? Because there's such great information there. So first and foremost, many of you who do know me and have known me for a long time know that I employ a non-toxic lifestyle. I am all about eliminating chemicals and really looking for those avenues. But I'm working actually. I'm in the current process of working with Melissa because I wanted to get my baseline and I wanted to see like on my health markers where I was at. And interestingly enough, like some things came back. I was a rock star. Like I was like,
you were
super A+, right? But there were still issues and there was still some toxicity and some things that were going on that, like at some point in our life, we make a decision to start changing things around, but it doesn't always go back. Like, hindsight's 2020. We always talk about that. And, thank God you found out, about like being a health coach when you did, because maybe if it had, given that opportunity, say 5 years prior, you would have been like, no, that's not for me. It's like everything comes when it's supposed to,
absolutely.
appear, right?
Absolutely.
So that's what I love about Melissa is that, and this is not a slam against, the health practitioners because they do what they can do. They only get a certain amount of like wellness classes during, their medical school. And they're just so inundated with so many people. And sometimes the easiest thing to do is to be able to say, okay, this is what's wrong. And they have the quick fix for it. But what I love about Melissa is that she is looking for the root cause and she is like delving deep to see what it is. Because like for me, it's about stress. Like, I don't think I have stress, but my lab results show that I do have stress. Well, like, unless I decide to address that stress, it's going to lead to more chronic issues that maybe, traditional medicine is not going to discover because they don't know about my stress levels in my test. So, like Melissa's like, yes. So like, I get it, but like the majority of people sometimes don't understand. And so you're all about education, right, Melissa? I mean, that's what
Absolutely.
I love about you. You have a quiz. Talk about your toxicity quiz, because that's a fun quiz to take.
Sure. And this is, the start of the education for people, because so often we look around in society and we see everyone else in the same boat as us, and we start to normalize things and that shouldn't be normalized. And so an example of that is how many times have people have said, I've got aches and pains. It sucks to get old, right? We just write it off as aging, or other symptoms symptoms are our body's way of talking to us. Firstly, they're not supposed to be ignored or accepted, right? But again, we get busy in life. We're trying to get more things done, and we just keep pushing through because for years we've also been told to suck it up, right? And so we have all of these symptoms, but often we'll write them off as aging and accept them, or seasonal allergies and again accept or tolerate them, or our genetics. And in all three of those cases, we're not taking responsibility for doing something about it because we don't even know that we can. And so when people do the quiz, it asks a lot of questions about symptoms and what you might be experiencing. And when you stop and you sit down and think about it, you're like, oh, I do have that, and I have that, and I have that. And you're answering, how frequently you have these. And it just creates that aha for people that I can do something about this, as opposed to accepting it, tolerating it, pushing through, right? Other very common examples of that in a segment that I work with is menopausal women. How many women going through menopause talk with their girlfriends about night sweats and hot flashes and insomnia and, different symptoms, common symptoms of menopause, complain about them, but don't realize that that's simply a sign of their hormones being out of balance and that we can address that. Same thing for PMS. How many young girls and young women have monthly PMS, cramps, pain, discomfort, mood swings, all of that? And again, tell their girlfriends about it and think it's just the fact that you're a woman, right? As opposed to the human body was never designed to cause us discomfort and pain. The discomfort and pain is triggered by us doing something wrong because we don't know. But when we realize that and we can rebalance our hormones, we don't have to suffer through anymore. And so doing this quiz helps people start to understand more ways that their body's talking to them, and then gives them an avenue for taking action.
Right. And you're absolutely right. Like when you talk about that, like any ache or pain, again, just to like reiterate that, yeah, that is a sign that something is, going on. I mean, and I love that because like I am such a energizer bunny, right? And so like when I know I don't have my energy, okay, then I'm looking to see like what is happening. Cause yeah, like, sometimes you can stay up too late or you're getting up early or all those kinds of things. But like if it's day in and day out and you're like, gosh, something just doesn't seem right, it's time to start to look deeper into what is really happening. So yeah, I love everything that you do, Melissa.
Oh, thank you. And I love sharing this information with people because I do truly believe I actually sat in that first health coaching course. And as I was learning all of this information, I just thought, if only the whole world, if this was a mandatory course for the entire world, we wouldn't have all the illness that we have today, right? But not everybody can take a year out of their life to, go to health coaching school and learn all of this. And so that's why I am so passionate about paying it forward. And I have my own podcast, Don't Wait for Your Wake Up Call, to, put out educational content for people. And the starting point for people is doing that quiz and understanding your toxic load, because modern science has now proven what Hippocrates said over 2,000 years ago, that all disease starts in the gut, right? And our gut is our second brain. And we've got a whole living ecosystem inside our gut that is designed to work symbiotically with us to help us break down our food, get the vitamins and minerals and nutrients that we need to the cells that need them for our optimal function. And the body doesn't make mistakes, but when we put in the wrong food, or we don't get enough sleep, or we have too much stress going on, all of that starts to break down, cause inflammation, that toxic load that's ever coming in, because we have 144,000 man-made chemicals introduced into our world since World War II. All of that causes inflammation in our body. And inflammation triggers cells to turn on the diseases that we are predisposed to. And that's the science of epigenetics. It's not just our genes that dictate our health outcomes, but the genes plus the environment we create inside our body. And the environment we create inside our body is 90 to 95% of that equation. And that's really powerful because it means you have that much control. You have choices. You have the choice to create a body that is inhospitable to disease. You just need to learn how. And that's what I love to share with people.
And there are so many things because, I don't know how much you know about this, Melissa, but for years, I may not have the health coach title, like I didn't go to school, but I've been trained by a lot of like health professionals throughout some of the different careers I've done. And I used to work with a line bringing in customized wellness practices to health practitioners. And so some of the stuff that you're talking about, like I just get so excited because I'm like, yes, yes, because these are the things that I used to educate on all the time. That almost all disease is directly related to inflammation within the body. And so it's like, how do we, figure out that disease? And the disease, the inflammation, but there's so many books written on this, like, how the body can heal itself, given the right nutrition, given the right information. And not everything is equal, right? Like sometimes people know, like finally they said, okay, people need to be supplementing with a multivitamin. However, like going to the store and buying like Centrum or something else, it's like, it's doing you more harm than good. So it's like, it's all these things. And it's like, it's really up to people to connect with somebody like you, to get the education. Because once you have the education, then you can make an informed decision. Like at that point, up to that point, don't say no so quickly, or don't just be like, no, that's not for me, until you have all the information. Because that's like my big thing for all of us. It's like, just get the information, listen to the education, then make an informed decision. And not just about your health, but about everything in life.
It's true. It's just like in business, right? In my business, I have a business coach. Through sports, through my childhood, I've had sports coaches. I've had social media coaches, because the fastest way between, point A and B is having someone who's been there before, done it themselves, show you the way, instead of having to take all the time to figure it out. And it's the same with your health. Let's face it, your health is your greatest asset, because you can't build your business from your sick bed. You can't raise your family or, earn an income or build your career. So when you have your health, everything else is in flow. But how do you achieve optimal health if you've never been taught? And so it is working with somebody that knows how to show you the way, because yes, there's so much information on the internet, but how do you know what information is the right information? And then there's also, as you said, books, great books out there that you can read, but do you know then how to implement it? And do you know how to do what's right for you and your body? And that's where the lab testing comes in. That's so powerful that you did with me. And, one of those labs tests inflammation levels, right? And your levels were really good because you know about that and you know what to do about that. But other people, I see lots of people with really high inflammation levels, and we can adjust that really quickly. And we know what the starting level is, and we can test again to see it come down. And inside 6 months, we can bring that down significantly. And what's super interesting is sometimes people will say to me, how long does this take? Well, of course, everyone's different. So I'm not putting a timeline on everything or anything. But if you're willing to do the work and follow my guidance, the body can rebalance very often inside 6 months. And that might sound like a long time, but your body has been out of balance for more than 6 months, I guarantee it. And by the time people find me, they've been suffering for quite a bit of time. Nobody goes to bed one night and then wakes up the next morning and has a diagnosis. It's been created inside the body over time, and we've been ignoring those symptoms I was talking about earlier until finally something's making us take action. And I have a saying that says the body, when it first starts talking to us, does so gently with the soft touch of a feather. And if we don't listen, it might come along and thump us with a brick. And if we still don't listen, watch out, because you could get whacked by a wrecking ball. And we all know someone who has been whacked by that wrecking ball. But I like to work with people at the touch of a feather, or even the brick stage, so it never has to get to the wrecking ball stage.
I love that analogy. And, a couple of things as we're kind of wrapping up, just to reiterate, is that when you have your health, you have everything, like really honest to God. And I always like to remind people, especially because I used to teach not diets. I used to teach healthy lifestyle. And like, and the effects of healthy lifestyle could be weight loss, right?
Mhm.
See, the weight didn't go on overnight, but everybody expects it to come off overnight. And that's the same thing with what you're doing as well, Melissa. Like it took years to get to this point, and it's not going to go away overnight. But if you're willing to work it, and again, you don't have to implement everything right away. It's like that process of like, okay, let me get started with this and then make that a habit. And then let's get started with this next point, and then before you know it, you're feeling so great and you almost forget about like how horrible you used to feel until you get like that, like you stop doing the good stuff. And then all of a sudden you're like, oh my gosh, I feel like hell. Like I got to go back to doing the good stuff. Because we all know, especially around the holidays, everybody's like, oh, well, just cheat a little. And before you know it, you're cheating a lot for 2.5 weeks.
And what's really interesting is your body, when you cheat after feeling well, and when you run and go through my programs, you have so much more awareness around how your body talks to you that very quickly you realize, okay, I've gone too far and to get back on track. Right. And sometimes people will message me and go, oh no, I really fell off. I've been so bad. And I'm like, you know what? It's not bad. It's a learning lesson. And it's your body reminding you of what it likes and doesn't like, so that you can program into your mind how it feels when you eat that food or drink that drink or, overindulge. Because next time around, it's going to prompt you to say, hey, maybe you don't want to do that because remember how you felt. Right. And over time, we form new habits and we don't fall off. We find new foods that we like and we don't even want to eat that anymore. Right. Because we love feeling good. And when people do my detox program, it's 3 weeks. You've done it. You weren't thrilled about it at first. You're like, I don't know if I want to do this, but you did it. You did awesome on it. And I've never had anybody get to the end of it and go, oh, I wish I didn't do that, because they're feeling so good. And that's what I mean. When we create the environment for the body to heal, it starts healing really quickly. So inside 3 weeks, people are always feeling better in some way, less aches and pains because the inflammation's gone down, maybe more mental clarity. Maybe they didn't even realize they had brain fog until it lifted, better sleep, more energy, etc. Right? Not needing to snack and graze all day long because now they're eating nutrient dense foods that last them for hours. All of these benefits are then new learning for people, and they can create new habits around them. And I just love showing people that how quickly the body will heal when we create the environment for it to do so.
Absolutely. Well, our time is running out, Melissa, and we could probably talk here for hours and everybody be like, would those two get off the screen? But how is the best way for people to get a hold of you? I know we're going to drop some stuff into, the comment section so that people can get a hold of you. And I know you have a free offer. So let's go ahead and chat about that before we wrap up.
Sure. So my website is yourguidedhealthjourney.com. My email is melissa@yourguidedhealthjourney.com. People can go to the website and click contact me or just email me directly. And yes, I'll drop the free link to my Discover Your Toxic Load quiz for people to do in the comments below. And in January 4th, I'm starting my next health kickstart and detox program, which you did. And that's, of course, the time of year people want to, focus on their health. So that program's coming up really quickly. People can check that out on my website under detox programs. And also this week, the detox kits are on sale. So anybody who wants to act quickly can jump on that. And my course is also on sale. So big savings for people that act quickly.
Listen, everybody knows that they set that as, like a target for the beginning of the year. So if you're really focused in on wanting to get healthy, and have Melissa support you along the journey, then do it. Because she made another really good point before. I have a coach as well, and I coach other people. So it's like that keeps you accountable. It keeps you more successful, like to have somebody accompanying you the journey. So contact Melissa, people. Listen up. Listen to me. And if you want any feedback, honestly, yeah, her program, she's right. I didn't like the first couple of days, but in the meantime, I love the results and how I felt after 3 weeks. So on that note, we are going to sign off for right now. Melissa, it's been an honor and a pleasure. Thank you for playing along with the holiday the
Oh,
holiday
my
cheer.
pleasure, Julie.
Yes. So thank you so much for all the information and the education. Again, we'll drop that information in the comments. And this is Julie Jones signing off for right now. The Adventures of Julie Jones and GSD, Get Shit Done. Be healthy and have a productive, get shit done kind of day. We'll see you soon.
Bye. Thanks, Julie. Awesome.